Welcome, cozy gamers. Ain is here, and we're about to get started on another new video on 10 more must-buy games. Now, in this case, these games became my must-buys after playing their demo, though technically one I already bought, but had I not bought it, it would have been on my must-buy, so that's why it's on the list, so that and plus I can get an E with 10. So I'm really nervous about this because it's my first time doing an intro video, and I'm also going to do an outro after that, and then of course a video recording in the middle with the gameplay. So let me know what you guys think. Also, thank you guys. I'm up to 100, almost 125. I'm about 11 away, I think. So thank you guys for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And now let's go ahead and get started on my top 10 games I must buy now after playing their demos. Game number 1 on our list is Flutter Away. Now this game almost made it on my other video, but I decided against it because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it enough to purchase it. But after I played it, it was actually everything I wanted to be in a game of its kind. I didn't even realize it until I play it. It is calm, it's serene, you get to explore, you get to take pictures. And let me tell you, I enjoy taking pictures of like nature when I'm out. I love just snapping just random pictures at like animals, flowers, buildings, like you name it. If it's an animal or it's inanimate, I will take a picture of it. Plants, I guess, may not completely be inanimate, but you know, close enough in my purposes. Plus, you know, it's also like a, you know, you find hidden things and you take pictures and it'll show up in your book as, you know, something that you found. And I was just, honestly, I was just amazed by it. The game is releasing in August, and oh my god, like I can't wait. August, I thought it was always going to be like a calm month for me, but it's turned into a that's going to be a catching up month for games. I've got plenty of other games to play. And plus now you have Flutter Away now to add to that list of exploration games that I can do, you know, in August as well. And so yeah, I really can't wait. It didn't run bad on my PC or anything like that. The only thing I did wish it had was like an audio adjustment, so I can lower the volume when I'm wearing my headsets. But other than that, like if I play with my USB speaker, like I'll be perfectly fine. Number 2 on our list, number 2, not number 3, is Venba. Now this story, well, it is a story game, but it has a cooking challenge element to it. And honestly, between the beautiful artwork, the beautiful story, and I played the entire demo. The demo's not actually that long, but it really had me hook, line, and sinker, just for lack of better, you know, phrases out there that I could think of. It was, oh my god, it was just amazing. Like I really wanted to know more about this couple who, I don't want to spoil it, but you know, they find out something that's very life-changing to them, and you know, they have to make decisions. But all of this is centered around food, which, you know, I'm Cuban, so my family, you know, food is important to us. We like to cook, you know, make meals for the whole family. And this is similar in that sense, but depending on what decision they make, well, it may not be so much with extended family, but more like an immediate family and the challenges that they have to face. And I like, it's beautiful. Like, I just can't wait to play it. I just want to know what happens. And I like cooking, but I don't like cooking, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I think it's just a wonderful game. And honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't on my must-buy list before. But honestly, I think the demo's what did it to me. Narration games can, you know, they could be iffy at times. So I'm actually really glad I tried out this demo and was able to say that yes, this is my game. I hope it's not super expensive. That's the only thing I'm afraid of, but at the same time, it also has great music, and combination of the music, the design of it, and then the cooking challenge that's in there too, because it kind of tells you, but it doesn't tell you, but it tells you. That made absolutely no sense, but that's the best way I could describe it when I was actually playing it, what was actually happening during that time while I was playing it. Now, number 3 on my list is Cuisineer. I believe that's how you say it. This is, wow, it was another great game. This game, I've been seeing like bits and pieces on it on Twitter, and I was honestly really surprised by it. It has roguelike aspects, which I love because I enjoy roguelikes. But it's also a cute setting, which makes me even love it even more. I also love food. I think I mentioned that in Venba, but this has more food. You're cooking here. It's also a cooking simulation game. And, add that to this charming, like a little adorable little world where, your parents leave you to fend. Well, not to fend for yourself. Basically, they leave the restaurant in your hands, which I guess is you have to open it. So I guess you are somewhat fending for yourself here. And you have to go and open a restaurant. You have to cook foods, but you also have to get your own items. And in order for you to get your own items, you actually have to go into a dungeon, which I thought it was amazing because, God, it sounds so terrible when I'm going to say this, but you use your spatula to, take care of your food ingredients in the dungeon. And that's how you gather your items because you don't know who your vendors that your parents use to get their food delivered. So they have that there. And so in essence, you're farming for your items to cook in the restaurant. It has days like spring at the very least. So I'm going to believe there's other seasons as well. I didn't get very far into it, but just due to the lack of time that I had playing all these demos. I think I ended up playing close to 40 something demos in total actually 30 plus. That's because I was working, and then I did like 10 past weekend, which I did videos on those. So yeah, like this game I believe will reach a wider audience just because of Marvelous Exceeds is the publisher of the game. So I think that'll be good because I think this game is actually going to be great for the Switch. Mind you, I'll play it on the PC, but this is going to be like a really great Switch game for those of you who own a Switch and are looking for these type of like roguelike, cozy farming / cooking, restaurant management style games. Now, number 4 on my list is Sugar Shack. Wow, now this game actually really amazed me. Some things I'm puzzled about, which I'll get to in a second, but this game is similar to Overcook. It's also a cooking game, and you're opening up a restaurant. You need to, of course, gather material. It seems like there's stuff you have to do on the outside, which is involving maple. So this game seems to be set in a fall-like town, and the devil is in there. And which is very interesting because I don't know why the devil is there. I haven't quite figured it out. That actually has me more intrigued than anything else. It's like, why is the devil in here? He even has the little devilish tail and everything. But yeah, so you go get maples outside is where you started it. And then you go inside and you actually have a restaurant that you would actually open up, and you cook ingredients just like you would in like Overcooked. And that's the whole concept, is for you to make money serving food to people. Add that to the whole fall autumn aesthetic, and I'm honestly I'm in love with this game. I didn't even know how much I was going to love it till I started playing it. I just remembered, oh, it's fall, I must try it out. Oh my god, it's fall plus it's an Overcooked like game. I am sold. Plus there's a devil and I don't know why he's there, and there's other kids there. Now the only drawback that I can say about the game is everything in the game is meant for a controller. So I had to figure out the mouse and keyboard mechanics, which that was interesting in itself, by the way. I just want you guys to know that there's a lot of trial and error with that, but I made it through. I mean, I guess if I have to come out with my controller, I guess I could use my controller, but I'm very much a keyboard and mouse whenever I can possible. But yeah, but I think this is like a really fun game to play, and I believe it's at least 2 players that you can use in it. And I don't know, it's just adorable, and I just love autumn. Like honestly, just that alone can almost half sell me on a game. And plus I really want to know why the devil's in there, if he's just called the devil and just wears a tail. I don't know. We're gonna find out once I play it at some point, whenever it gets released, I should say. Now, game number 5 on the list, I'm going on to the next one now, is The Last Alchemist. Wow, now this game really actually surprised me. Typically, main characters, I try to go after like female protagonists, not so much male ones, because I feel like the male protagonist has been overdone in cozy games. And I like, I'm a female, I like to play as another female in a game. But in this case, I honestly think they did the main character well, because he's not your typical main character. And then when you add that to your game design, the fantasy setting, like, it just combines into something where I'm like, oh, this game is actually like really good, because you saw puzzles, you have these algiris. They're cute, they're mushrooms. I don't know if I even said the name correctly. They're like mushrooms, and I'm not a fan of mushrooms in real life. Apparently I am in video games, but not in real life. I honestly could just never look at a mushroom ever again. I try to wear everything without mushrooms, but there I go, going off topic again. So let me come back. So I guess in essence I should say video game mushrooms are okay. So yeah, so you're an older gentleman who's an alchemist. You seem to be the last one, based on the title, and you have a disease, and you went to go visit your old teacher who passed away, and you're there to try to help yourself as well as help those algiris, and which are the mushrooms, because they moved in after your master died, or your teacher, or it's one or the other. I can't remember right now. Now, this game, I will say, is probably built with a controller in mind as well. The camera probably reminded me closer to what I would play in Final Fantasy XIV. So it actually made me dizzy if I wasn't holding it correctly, the way it was moving. But overall, I think the game's going to be great because it has puzzles to solve. You have to figure out ingredients. You have to do research. And in that, it's really engaging, on top of that fantasy setting, because you don't find a lot of fantasy setting games with this aesthetics that's not cozy, I guess. They're probably more like roguelite or more like action RPGs. So I think that's really great about this game, and I can't wait to play this one either. Now, number 6 on my list is Videoverse. Now, I'm going to call this my passion game, like my side game, as I like to call it. I probably will never, ever, I don't want to say probably ever, ever. Let me not say that. Let me say less likely that I will ever stream this game or talk about this game outside of probably what I'm doing here, and maybe like one other video just to review it. It takes you back to a time when, gaming was a lot different. We have more like access to things now compared to what we did then. And I love how you're following the storyline of a character, and he plays video games and he meets friends online and he's talking to them. But it's not set in today's time, which I think it's easier for you to interact with people nowadays versus to when it was back when this game came out, early 2000s, I think it's set in 2004. I can't even remember. But I think that alone is it's a narrative game, and I love the narrative games where they're there to tell a story of a time, especially of a past time, because it lets you see through, this person's eyes what they saw and what they encountered and how things was back then, especially versus now, because a lot has changed between, 20 years ago versus what it is now. Now, my next game on my list, I think I'm on number 6. This is 6, I believe. I can't keep count anymore. Number 6. We Took That Trip. First off, it is a simple game. It is not complex. The controls can be somewhat complex. Just trying to figure out what you can grab, what you can't grab. But the game is so simple. Like, I love it. It is literally, it's you. Well, you're playing as a male, which shows a female, but that's besides the point now. You're literally just traveling in a van that's, it's banged up. It's not the greatest. And, you're doing your best to give it fuel, which is, in this case, it's recyclable items, which I also think is a very lovely touch to the game. That you're using like recyclable items to use as fuel, which is, I guess, is kind of reminiscent of Back to the Future movies. Number 1, was it number 2, number 3? I don't know. It's been a while since I watched them, but if you know what I'm talking about, I could think of the scene where they were using stuff to put into the vehicle in order to make it to work. And this is kind of similar to that. And you're in a van, and you're driving down the road, and it's taking you through different years. And you'll see the years like above, kind of like if you're going to, like camp or something, summer camp, where you have the big old sign on top of the name. Well, it gives you the year up there, and you're just driving down the road. You have a radio, you can change the radio. Now this game will have a story mode, and then they also have just a zen mode, which is just you driving down the road. And as much as I don't like driving in real life, but if I am going to drive, if there's ever a time I don't mind driving, is when it's a long distance on my own and I'm listening to music. Like those three factors alone, I will go, 3-4 hours away if I have to. Well, maybe not 4 hours anymore, but 2-3 hours away. I will drive back and forth to see somebody who wants to see it, or just to see an area, because I enjoy that aspect of it's my me time. And here, with wherever the prices are going up with like gas and stuff, I think this game's gonna fill that particular niche that I'm looking for. With the music and the driving. Even if I don't turn on the radio in game, I can still have my own music playing in the background and just driving down the road and seeing what the game gives me, because the zen mode is just never ending. It's just gonna keep going until you stop, and that, I cannot wait for that. Literally, it's like sold me on this game pretty much. Alright, number 8. This is number 8. I'm gonna mess up these numbers, so I didn't write them down on here. So number 8 is While the Iron is Hot. This one actually surprised me that I enjoyed it as much as I did, but I actually did. It's a side scroller. It's just design wise is nothing special per se, but it fits the world really great. And then they also have an open world map where you also have movement in it. It's like a very old school RPGs, similar to like old Final Fantasy games, or maybe like Tales of games. Not the newer ones, but probably the older ones where you would pop out to the map and you have to move around, but everything is smaller. So you have that, and you also encounter like environment stuff as well in there, and you can have to like do damage to them in order to take them down. So I don't even know where I was going for this. Let me go back to my notes here for a minute. It has very simple controls. There seems to be a little bit of a story going on. I'm not 100% sure on that one just yet. Sometimes games just give you just enough so you have something to work with, and then go from there. But I think it'll have more than what I think it will have at the rate I'm going with the game. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Very surprisingly, some other male character. I really wish these games would have it where you can create your own character. One day we'll get more games like that besides what we already have. But no, I understand why they did it. It's how the developer wanted to do it, and I support that. And what I'm really looking for is gameplay, the aesthetics, the music, and how the game makes me feel while I'm playing it, which this game completely fits that particular niche for me, which is why it is on my list. Now, number 9. This is the game that I technically have backed, but this is the first time I've actually been able to show footage because it was a demo. And even if I had not backed it, I would have backed this game. So this is why it's on the list, is Spells and Secrets. Oh my god. Just, when you think of, I've mentioned that I like roguelikes. A lot of the roguelikes tend to be like super dark in nature compared to, cutesy and, farming sim, life sims, you name it, like those types of styles. This game is of the roguelike cutesy style that I've been looking for. Plus it's a co-op game as well. And in essence, you're a student, the school gets invaded, I guess would be a good way of putting it. And you're there, and you're going to rescue the students. Now, the reason why you're able to rescue the students, that would be considered a spoiler. But there's a reason why you can do it, and why the teachers are not afraid to send you into, the dormitory, I guess in this case, to rescue other students. So when you die, it's like any other rogue game. You get put out to the courtyard, You get to buy items, but you don't get to keep any of the artifacts or items that you find within the dormitory. So I'm honestly, it's the developers have worked really closely with everybody in terms of like demo and feedback and so forth. So I have really high hopes that this game is going to be one of those games where, you know, you're going to have a good time, and it shouldn't make everybody's list on games to play with your friends. I think it's only 2 people that can play at most, so the person who owns a copy and the other person. So like between that, I think this game is going to be, you know, one of the near like top lists. Now for our last game is the Witch's Cauldron. Now this game, it is essence you're playing as a witch, and you get customers and you're making them potions. Now this is probably more considered a dark cozy game, which I really should go into a video about dark cozy games versus like light cozy games, but that's another topic as usual that I distracted myself with. But this game, in essence, so you're playing a witch, you're fulfilling orders to the townsfolk because you just had to move to a new town because where you're running or you were at before, I guess they ran you out. And here you are, in essence, fulfilling those orders, and you have like 2 different types of fame. You know, one of the fearful and then one of not so fearful. I don't quite remember the names right now, but it is, you know, it's just that type of game. It is, you're gonna do things, and when you finish the day or you do something, there's gonna be a narrative story that tells you what happened. So for instance, I made some guy a potion that would help him win a race, and so he promised me if I did that he would share in his earnings with me if he won. So I made him that potion, and then you get the end screen at the end of the day. You get a recap that yes, he did win. He comes by, he celebrates with you, shares his earnings, and you have good drinks and you have a good time. But then other things can happen the other way where, you know, I had one instance where a king decided to celebrate something and nobody really thought of me as anything special as a witch. So it goes back and forward. Like, I wish I had a little bit more time to play it, but from what I played, like, I really, really enjoyed it. And honestly, it's one of those I call my chill, dark games that I like to play where I just figure out potions. Because I like figuring out what to give to people. So, it's, you know, it's a mystery in that sense, because you have to open potions, and then it doesn't give you all the potions either. You also have to figure it out. So you could think of the game, honestly, what's the closest game I can think? It's like a shopping management game, I guess is a good way. Potion Alchemy, is that the name of the game? I'm gonna have to look up that game real quick. Hold on, guys. Bear with me here a second. I'm terrible with names. Potion Craft Alchemist Simulator. So think of that game, not quite that style, but it's that same kind of like concept where people come to you, ask for potions, but it's not as in-depth as Potion Craft. Way near not as in-depth that I can tell so far from what I played. And I enjoy sometimes simple games, which is why this is on my must-buy list now. Well, there you go, guys. Those are my top 10 games that I must now buy after playing their demos. Do you agree with me? Are there other games that I haven't mentioned that you think that should be on that list? You know, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you haven't, please like the video. I never know where it is on the screen, so, you know, feel free to hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, I really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button too. It also lets me know that you guys want to see more of this content. With that being said, thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you guys on our next cozy journey.